Alright, so last year I made this journal out of cardboard, as you can see, and then I put napkins on here. I made this to display some of these different tags that I had received. That was my original purpose in doing this, and the way I hinged this together was putting a strip of either fabric, trim, or lace to keep it together. So I thought this would be fun for us to do as a group. You can use whatever you want to use from your trash pile. This is just some cardboard that was in some packing. You might want to use maybe the boxes, like macaroni boxes, whatever boxes will be big enough for this project. So the size, hold on, the size that we'll make these, forgot to mark it down. We're going to make these 4 by 8 because that is about the average size of those large sized napkins. So if you use the large ones and you want to use a full page, or I should say a full panel on the page, those will work just fine. If you use the smaller ones, those will also work too. So I would suggest that you use this kind of cardboard so that it's not going to be all chunky like that. It's going to be very narrow and very simple to mail. This would be kind of klutzy to mail. So I would strongly suggest that you use this thin board that, most of the packaging comes in, and most of your boxes, like cereal boxes and things like that. Alright, so we know what we're going to use. We know the size. Now, I have a couple of suggestions here so that you know how it's going to look. For those that have not done the decoupage with napkins before, most of your napkins are going to have 1 or 2 layers, and we will take all the layers off, however many layers yours has. Now, I showed an example here of leaving the cardboard a natural color as opposed to putting a primer of some white. The difference is that when you pull the napkin apart, if you have the natural color, it's going to give you one color. You can see the difference up here with the white behind it. And if you take these apart, it's going to look identical to when it was on here because it's obviously white. So that is, up to you what you want to do. If you want to put a primer on there, or if you want to keep it more of a natural look. I think this tends to make it look a little more antique, and a lot of you like that vintage look, and I think that's the look you get when you leave it the natural color. And this is a lot more crisp and cleaner effect if you put the primer. Okay, so then for those, again, that have not done this, the next question is, well, how do you glue them down? Well, I'm the type that just uses whatever I have. I know a lot of the ladies like to use the Yes paste on it. They seem to have a really good result with it. I don't have any Yes paste, and I've never owned any. So about the only kinds of glues or adhesive that I have is the Mod Podge matte, and I think I have some of the latex, the matte medium. But for this, I'm just going to use the Mod Podge because that's probably what most of you have. So let's go ahead and use that. And through trial and error, I have discovered that the biggest problem that we all do at the beginning is that we put way too much glue. And that's what messes us all up, and it tears, and it is just a mess. So I don't put all that much, to tell you the truth. I would say just so that your cardboard is basically damp. You know, you shouldn't really see it all that much, and it doesn't need to be really that saturated. As you can see, very quick. And then the next question is, well, how do you not get all those wrinkles? Well, I don't care about the wrinkles. I actually like the wrinkles. But let's see if we can get this down with a minimal amount of wrinkling. And again, I just use my hand. But because I didn't put a lot of glue on there, I'm able to do that. If I had put a lot of glue, this would have already torn. Just from touching it. It would be torn completely. So that's pretty much all I do. And try to make sure that everything is touching somewhere. And inevitably, I do miss something. But again, it all adds to the final look. So that's that right there. And then after this would dry, then I would go ahead and put a top coat. But wait till this is completely dry, or else it's just going to tear apart. Once it's dry, you'll be able to put, and again, just put a light coat. And if you want a thicker coat, put multiple thin layers. Don't just put a bunch of glob on there and hope it all works out. And you might be able to see it better on here because of the contrast in color. Well, not too much. But I'm not putting a whole lot. But I am trying to make sure that I do have full coverage, or else, you know, you'll have a little bubble here or there. And if you do, again, that's no big deal. Just flatten it out when you put your top coat, and it just all adds to the character. I'm not that concerned if I have a crease or anything like that, because sometimes I like to go back and put a little bit of Distress ink. And if you do have all those ripples on there and folds, I think it makes it look even prettier myself. But that's just me. Okay. So again, just very lightly. And there's some space up there. I can just go back and get my original napkin and cut some parts off of whatever I want and put it there. Or you can just go ahead and leave it, because remember, we're going to put a hinge with some kind of fabric or ribbon or something, and that's going to get covered up. But I would just go ahead and put some napkin. Okay, now this isn't completely dry, but we'll go ahead and we'll do exactly what I told you not to do. But again, it's not that wet because I didn't put that much. And then what we'll do is we'll put a coat on the top. And don't work it too much, because, you know, it still can tear. And then we can always come back. When you find what you missed, we can always come back. See, there's a little spot right there. I can see it already. That I missed underneath. So it's leaving a bubble. So you're going to have mistakes. But you know, I love mistakes. Because I think that's when things become pretty and unique. It's all how you look at it. Don't let it frustrate you. Let it inspire you when you have a mistake. Alrighty. So that's done. And you can see how as this is drying, you're going to have that brown effect showing through. And it looks a lot older. Alright, what I should have done before I glued that down is to go ahead and wait till it's dry, because you can tear very easily the napkin if it's wet, and then it makes it look kind of ugly in the front. So we want to try and avoid that. And on these, you can mix and match, you know, different napkins that you have. It doesn't have to be a solid piece. You can use different napkins and do like a collage. Alright, now what you can do, because inevitably we're going to not get it all the way up to the edges. That's just the way it is. So get a very little, very, very little on your brush and go this way. So it helps to get a little bit underneath, and then go like that, and it should keep it down. Alright, we'll do that on both sides. When you do this, you're just bending it back so it'll get underneath, and then you can go forward. Okay, now we haven't done the front of this one, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. And again, let's just put a light coat. Okay, so off camera, I got a little crazy, and I covered up all of my cardboard, 8 by 4. As I was gluing down these napkins, I realized they were coming up short, about 1/4 of an inch. But instead of, you know, having measurements kind of in fractions, let's just go ahead and continue with the 8 by 4. And what I did is I just took some of the napkin and took it all the way to the top. I'll show you that in a second with my finished ones. But I wanted to show you what I did. After I filled that in, I came in and I did a hole punch on here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 of these, and then we're going to get some kind of packaging that we have that looks like a tag, and we're going to decorate as much or as little as you want. Again, I'll give you some examples before we're through here, and I'll show you how I did mine. You can do yours any way you want, but I'm just showing you an example. What I did is I punched a hole in mine up here, and then I just tied a regular knot here. I don't know if it's regular or not. It's regular for me. Okay. And have that there. And then what I did, let me see if I have a scrap of something to show you. There's a piece. Then what I did is I got my glue gun. I put a little bit of glue. You can use tacky glue. You can use whatever you want. I just happened to use this. Do whatever you have to do to save your fingers. And if your card's a little thicker, depending on how you finish it, put your card there, your tag I should say. That way you're going to leave the exact amount of room that you need for it to fit, depending on the thickness, of course. Okay? And then you have a little place for it to be a little more secure. All right, so let me show you one that I finished up to show you the example. Here's another one that I did, and I have that little band, and here is my little card. What I did with this, I turned it into like a little mini book, and I put some papers in here, and then I just stapled it here and here and put a hole, and then secured it up here just like I showed you on the other one. On mine, I decided that I'm going to have some little pulls, little tabs, so I just got another little pieces, scraps of fabric, and glued those down. You can do them in paper, fabric. You don't even have to do them. That was just something that I decided to do. You can see here on the flip side, this is just some packaging that I put some flowers. Now what I decided to do, because I had so many napkins that had the theme of flowers, I decided to follow a theme. You don't have to do that, but if you have a certain theme as far as your napkins are concerned, feel free to do that, or mix and match. It doesn't really matter. All right, so this is one page that I would consider complete. I put the napkin, I decoupaged some flowers from a catalog. I decoupaged these on here, put the little band, and I would call this one ready. I did, before I did the decoupaging on here, I did distress the edges just very, very little with some distress ink. I don't think I did this side at all. But anyway, and here also is the napkin, and I put a flower from a magazine here in here just to give it a little different, little interest. All right, so like I said, when I went off camera, I went kind of crazy. I love doing these, and so I just kind of got ahead of myself, and I go, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be filming this. So this is, now remember, let me show you. This was our inspiration. These come out very, very thick, because these are done out of the corrugated cardboard. Hold on one second, let me get some in here. And then these are made just out of flat pieces of cardboard. Okay, and obviously a lot thinner and manageable. So what I am going to suggest, you don't have to do it, you're the one paying the postage. What I would suggest is just using the thin cardboard, because here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's already pretty chunky. So let me show you what I did here. It's not complete. We'll finish it up together. But this is the cover. Again, it was just a napkin. This here came, I went to a little gathering, and they had some fancy paper plates to eat on. They were really pretty, and I was running around grabbing them from everybody before they threw them in the trash. And so these are parts of that. This is just a little salvage fabric. This here comes from a sample for some kind of drapes or shades, so I cut some of those pieces off and put that there. Scraps of fabric and lace, and that's it. So I put this little piece here to be sort of like the tab. So here, this is basically just your napkin and bits and pieces of trash that you have saved, because like most of us, we don't throw anything away. All right, so in here, this is obviously another napkin. And because I was going with all these flowers, and it was getting kind of frilly, and I'm not a a frilly kind of foo-foo girl. So I figured for my taste I had to add a few bugs. What's a garden with all the flowers without a few bugs? So I'd had a magazine that showed different types of bugs you need to look out for in your garden. So I started cutting those out. And of course, if you have a garden, you have bugs, you have to have birds. And if you have flowers, butterflies show up. So that was my logic of how I put this together. Alright, so this came out of a magazine also, and I just put two together, and this was some packaging that I had. And more scraps, and you saw how I put that together. So that's how I did that page. Same thing, I just repeated everything. How I did it was repeated on all the pages. And some more packaging, and some more bugs. And I put a hole up here for all of these to secure them. Here I made another little book so that you still can go ahead and write a little something, or add some more bugs and flowers, glue them on there, whatever the recipient wants to do. And here's some more bugs and flowers. This was the napkin, and then I added the flower and the bug there. And here you have a few more pages that you can write in. I added a big bug and a big flower, and here's the butterflies, and then here's some more flowers. And this was for a spray bottle, and I thought, probably going to have to spray some insecticide during the spring and the summer with all these flowers and all these bugs. And again, got to put that down. Napkin and a little bit of cutouts from a magazine. And this was some handmade paper I had, so I decided to put that in this little tag. And back here I made a little something. Where is it? Oh yeah, here's a little, and it has all kinds of bugs, moths. Okay, and so that can go right there, and that's the end of that. So, what I'm going to do is, oh, wait a minute, there was already one there. This was another little book I did. And that goes there. Okay, this is extra, that'll go somewhere. Alright, so what I want to show you is basically how I did the hinges. The hinges are just pieces of scrap. And that's what keeps this together. And I also just did that with a hot glue gun. Again, you can use, if you want to use some kind of like a tacky glue or fabric glue, whatever you have, just use it. But this works for me. I've made several like this and they don't fall apart. So I'll just go with what, I already know. So what I would suggest you do is maybe put one out this way, depending on the thickness, maybe two, to kind of sort of make it a little more level when you do your gluing. Let me put one back. Okay, and so all I do is I just pick some kind of a fabric. I have a little bit of this here, so I thought I would use this right here. And I put maybe about 2 inches. You can go as far as you want. On my other book, I almost went all the way across, but you can put whatever you want. But what I do suggest is that when you put the hot glue, and if you're going to put a strip, come as close as possible, because if you don't get it really close, then it's going like, it's kind of flapping, and when you turn it, it's even more wonky than it's going to be even if you do it the right way. So just, just be mindful to try to get as close to the edge as you can. I'm not always successful, but at least I'm mindful that I need to do that. And I'll show you right here. Just try to get as much as you can to that end. And I know a lot of people don't like working with a hot glue gun, but I don't mind it at all. You know, I've only burnt myself a couple of times. But I survived, you know, I survived. And then also, of course, I didn't cut all these perfect, so just kind of line them up as close as possible. And again, get to the edge as much as possible and run a little bead. And try to line that up. And then you can cut the length before, after. I usually do it after because I'm notorious for not doing the right dimensions on things. And let's do this end up here with a different color. Let's see what I got. I have a little box here with my different colors. Let's see. Let's just go with, I have a little piece of velvet. I think I used that once already, but that's okay. Alright, so you see how these are not even, but you know, what are you going to do? No one's measuring, right? Okay, let's get that right there. And again, if you don't like working with the glue gun, I get it. Just glue it and, you know, put a little clip or something until it dries. It's a slower process, you know, if you're going to do it with some wet glue. But hey, no one said this had to be a speed race. Okay. Make sure it's cooled down. Okay. Let's go back. Let me find the front. Okay, here we go. Here's the front. Then, once I've got all my pages, now we're just going to do 4 pages, but I forgot to show you how to do the hinges, so I did a 5th page. But we're going to do 4 pages. And then what we do in the back, so that it's a lot more stable, what I do is I put what I did in the past. Let me see what I want to use. Maybe just something like this. Let me see. What I did is I put a little bit of glue up here on top, and I put a hinge in the back, and it just helped stabilize it from stopping from going back and forth. So let me do that right now, and I'm just going to use some of this fabric right here. And let me just, and again, I use the glue gun, but you can use whatever you want. And I put just a tiny bit, just a dot, up there on top. Just so it can connect a little bit. It doesn't have to a lot, because it's really what's going to keep it together is when you put the glue in the front here. That's what's really going to stabilize it. And we'll do it in the back. Now, just so you know, this is the way I'm putting it together. The reason I'm showing this is because several ladies had asked me, well, how did you do all that hinge work? So I'm showing you. You do not have to finish your book this way. You can just put some holes and put some rings, you know, whatever you feel comfortable doing. This is just the way that I'm finishing it off. So don't feel that you go, oh, Rosemary, I can't do that. I don't understand what you're doing. You don't have to do it this way. I'm simply showing you how I did mine, and then I'll show you what the requirements are for the actual swap. Okay, so no need to panic. I can see that I dripped inside, but that's the beauty of hot glue. I can go in there and just take it out once it's dry. Come on, I know you've got glue in there. Okay. I saw it dripped in here. Yeah. Okay. See? That's simple enough. Okay. We are all set. Most of the wonkiness is out. Let me trim that a little bit. All right, and we are all set. Again, this has 5. We only have to do 4. So the bare minimum is that you get a piece of cardboard, 4 by 8, cover it up with a napkin, get a piece of packaging and create a tag, secure it in one fashion or another to your page. Use bits of paper, fabric, whatever you have. I know not everybody has fabric, so whatever you have. And then create some kind of a book out of these. Now you're going to do both sides. So you're going to have 4 sides. You have, 4 of these. You have 8 sides. And I used this system to hinge them together. But if you're not comfortable with doing it this way, go ahead and put some holes and put a ring or whatever you're comfortable with. The reason I show you this is because I think it's fun to challenge ourselves. We think we can't do something, and then we try it, and then we surprise ourselves. And I think that's the fun part of being in groups with other people that look at things a little differently. It helps us to try something new. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Try it once. After all, we're just working with scraps and trash. It isn't like we are wasting money and product that we have bought. So I think that using what we have and recycling trash should allow us to be a lot more creative, because we aren't using something that we paid a lot of money for. Okay, ladies, so these are the parameters. You want them 4 by 8. You want 4 of them. They have to be covered with napkins. You can leave them, oh, but I have to remind you, yes, you can leave the cardboard plain, and it's going to give it this more antique-y look to it because the color is going to come through of the cardboard. Or you can paint them white, which is what I did with these. I painted all of these white. the cardboard. And that way, however you see your napkins, that's the color they're going to come out when you glue them on here. So again, 4x8, glue a napkin, get some kind of packaging, make some kind of a tag, secure that tag in one fashion or another, and put the four pages together in any way that you like. You do not have to follow a theme, but I like themes. I think they're fun. Alrighty, have fun. I hope you enjoy this swap, because I know I enjoyed making it for you guys.